deadline to remember, fellas. 12 deals involving 28 players, but none more impactful than 3 trades made by the Cavs, sending out 6 guys and getting back 4. It looks like they'll get at least 1 starter out of this deal with George Hill, and then 3 very impactful bench players in Rodney Hood, Jordan Clarkson, and Larry Nance Jr. How cool is it that he gets to play for the Cavaliers organization? Here was the first trade that got the dominoes going, and it caught everybody by surprise. The Lakers and the Cavaliers. Isaiah Thomas going to L.A. with Channing Frye and Cleveland's own first-round draft pick, which means they still have the rights to the Nets' first-round draft pick in 2018. The Cavs get back Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr. They were not done there. Check out this 3-team deal. Kobe Altman, wheeling and dealing. The Cavs get Rodney Hood and George Hill. Hood from Utah, Hill from Sacramento, and now Jay Crowder's out, Derrick Rose is out. So you think about all the guys that the Cavs let go, and oh, by the way, there was another one. Another one. You thought that Rose, you thought that Isaiah and Wade couldn't play together, as we saw the other night against Houston. They could not play together on the court. Dwayne Wade got sent out to Miami, which we'll get into a bit later on. So the oldest team in the NBA got an injection of youth. However, with that comes a lack of big game experience. So the Cavs roster changed. However, their expectations have not changed, guys. The Cavs traded away nearly 400 total games of playoff basketball, while the 4 guys they have now on the team have totaled less than 100 playoff games, and George Hill is responsible for 83 of those games. All right, let's start here with the former general manager of the Cavaliers, who has been in all day, guys. By the way, thank you for still sticking with us here after 5 consecutive hours of Trade Talk basketball right here on NBA TV. You give up that experience, but you get the youth, you get some other aspects of the game that those 6 guys didn't have.
Well, I think what you get is defensive versatility. And the length aspect of that group is really meaningful as well. I think the pieces have a chance to fit together much better now because of the makeup of the roster. Being able to hold on to Kyle Korver, who is such a special floor spacing shooter for them, #1 on their team in plus minus throughout the entire season. He will fit really well with these defensive pieces. The other thing it does, and I think the Larry Nance piece in particular is really, really important here. It enables them to play Nance and Love together in the front court, in addition to Thompson and Love. So Nance and Love will allow for Love to play that spacing 5 role, so it will help them absorb the loss of Channing Frye, because Channing is another guy who is a big part of their key lineups.
Right. Yeah. No. I think it is a obviously seismic move for the Cavaliers, but I think it does 2 things. Number one, they had to reset, and they couldn't just tinker. They had to blow it up. It was not working. It wasn't close to working. They were not good offensively or defensively. And if you've got LeBron, as you know, it's all about getting to the finals. There's nothing else you're trying to do, right? So you can't just be a 7 seed. That's not good enough for a LeBron team. And I think it sends a message, to LeBron James through Dan Gilbert taking on more luxury tax payments going forward, that I'm not out of this yet. I'm not rebuilding. I'm not in rebuild mode. If they were in rebuild mode, he would say, I'm not taking on Jordan Clarkson's contract. I'm not doing it. Because whatever happens with LeBron, they're stuck with Jordan Clarkson's contract. Yeah. Doesn't matter what happens, whether LeBron stays or goes. They got Jordan Clarkson now. So that's a sign that Dan Gilbert continues to be all in to the extent he can be, spending money, being willing to spend more, and I think that sends a message to LeBron. Now, look, at the end of the day, we talked about this all day, this comes down to one thing. LeBron and Dan Gilbert. Do they get along enough to continue working together, or do they not? And nothing else matters. All the trades, all this other stuff doesn't matter. But at least they have put Cleveland in a position where they can and should now compete again for a championship.
Yeah, and I would say I don't even think it's about liking each other. I really think it comes down to having gratitude for the fact that Dan will spin to the level he will spin, recognizing how rare that really is, and from Dan's perspective, being comfortable, being more transparent and open with LeBron and with the group as a whole. I think as Dan has started to grow and evolve as an owner, it's going to be much more important for him to be more visible with those guys so that trust that they're all trying to build is easier.
Yeah.
So the more present you are, oftentimes that makes it easier. And I think it's been a really significant thing that Kobe now makes this deal. He and his team put this team together. He's now bought credibility in that locker room that he and Dan care every bit as much about winning as everyone in the room as well. And that's truly meaningful to LeBron and others.
Griff, I'd like you to kind of repeat for those who are just tuning in and just catching up on the wild day in the NBA, to repeat the point about how in Cleveland, and with LeBron specifically, you can't worry about what you're doing and giving to other teams if you feel you're doing what's best for you.
Yeah, so Dan Gilbert and Nate Forbes, who was sort of the proxy president of the organization when I was there, he was the owner we dealt with all the time, had a saying in their companies at Quicken Loans, nothing clarifies like clarity.
Right.
We knew unequivocally we were there to win that championship. That was it. That was the sum total of our goal set, was we must win championships. And to that extent, I'm here now. But I think it's really meaningful that you know what you're all about, and you don't have to worry about the other shoe dropping. What happens at the end of the season, you have to worry about, let's build this thing, let's make it a place everyone wants to be, and everyone really starts and ends with LeBron.